live in Wentzville. Rolling Thunder Tournament. Kirkwood's first tournament action of the season. Opening this tournament weekend against St. Peter's. The same A3 St. Peter's team that Kirkwood has already played during declaration season. That game finished in a 4-1 victory for the Stars. The Stars have won all of their contests so far this season, 2 declaration games and 2 practice scrimmages. So they look to stay hot here in Wentzville. Don't be fooled by that 4-1 scoreline or that 4-0 record though. This first contest between these two teams was much tighter than those records would suggest. Kirkwood got out to a 2-0 lead with goals in the first and second period against St. Peter's, but shortly after that second goal, St. Peter's came right back in less than a minute, brought it back within 1 until Kirkwood scored 2 goals very late in that game to pull away and make it a comfortable victory. But that was a very tight, closely contested contest for most of the game. So we should probably expect to see more of that here today. You know, declaration games are one thing, but once you get into that tournament setting, you put a trophy on the line, a banner on the line. These kids get up for those kinds of things. So I would expect to see a little bit higher level of intensity and energy from both the Stars and St. Peter's. St. Peter's is not the only team out of Kirkwood's league that will be here in this tournament bracket. Actually, all the teams in this bracket are St. Louis teams. 4 of the 5 opponents for Kirkwood are straight out of their A3 league division. The only team that's not out of their A3 division in league play is the Merrimack A2 team, who's higher than them in league play. 2 Merrimack teams in the group this weekend. One is the A3 team, who Kirkwood has not seen yet. The other is Merrimack's A2 team, which without an A1 team this year is Merrimack's highest ranked team at the Peewee level. We do not play that A2 team though. Tomorrow morning, Kirkwood will face off the A3 version of the Merrimack Sharks. If Kirkwood were to see the A2 team, that would have to come Sunday in the medal rounds, and what I would project as the likely championship game for this bracket. The reason that I would be so bold as to say that is, well, of course, Merrimack A2 is the highest tier team in this bracket, and then as for Kirkwood, they are undefeated 4-0 this season, and 3 of their 4 victories came against teams in this bracket. Not only do you have the St. Peter's team here today, Kirkwood also has defeated the Rockets, A3 team, another team that is not scheduled for group play against Kirkwood. And then the third team that Kirkwood has already faced so far is Northwest Arkansas, who Kirkwood needed a late comeback to win that one. They took a very quick 1-0 lead against the junior Ice Hogs, but then 2 quick goals in the second period, less than a minute apart from each other for Northwest Arkansas, flipped the script on that game, put the Ice Hogs ahead 2-1, and really Northwest Arkansas controlled the rest of that period until a late turnover by Sam Hughes, and then shot, rebound, score, tied the game for Kirkwood, and that brought a lot of life back to Kirkwood's forecheck, a lot of energy, and they played a very spirited third period before Liam Gale scored the game winner on a pass from David Kukla with less than a minute to play. So a lot of compelling matchups, but all ones that we've seen so far, but the early results would have Kirkwood as a slight favorite to go through to the championship game against that A2 Merrimack. But this is why we play the games. We're gonna find out right here, right now, who deserves to be playing in that championship slot on Sunday. First of 3 group play games before that Sunday medal round. as we get set to drop the ice. Here in Wentzville, puck is on the ice. Back and forth in the neutral zone they go. No one taking control just yet. Couple of turnovers both ways as these teams try to sort out the initial possession. Still nobody gaining the offensive zone as now, nope, St. Peter's tries to come across the line. They do, but offsides. So still no team with a touch in the offensive zone off this opening faceoff. That is a little bit like it was the first time these two teams met. Pretty even through the neutral zone. Both teams getting chances, going each way. As St. Peter's gets the first offensive possession of the game, but a quick turnover. A nice move by Bodie behind the net to come out and up to David along the far boards. Goes into the corner. Here comes a deep pinch by Sam Hughes. Now St. Peter's looking to break out. They do, but puck squirts loose across center ice. That's Jacob Schultz back for Kirkwood, sending it forward. St. Peter's regains control. Coming forward, 2-on-3 though, now 2-on-5 as the Spirit go for a change. So Kirkwood will look to exit the zone. They do get it across, but not the way that they were trying to go. As here they come on the attack. Sam loses the handle, it comes back out to neutral ice. All the way back to Jacob, sends it forward, no red shirts there, and the puck squirts all the way down to the St. Peter's goalie, no icing, as Kirkwood goes for a change, and now St. Peter's comes forward. Puck squirts loose all the way behind Kirkwood's goal. Stars take over there, now looking for the exit. This is Liam Gale skating it up the ice for the Stars. Now gaining St. Peter's territory into the slot. Can't get the backhand shot away. Kirkwood behind the goal, looking for the centering pass. It's covered by the goalie. So a little bit back and forth here in the early action. No team really able to set up shop in the offensive zone. As we'll have Liam Gale in the face-off circle for Kirkwood. He's got Leo Bauer on his right. Aiden Lamb on defense with Gavin Langen. Aiden Lamb had 3 points against St. Peter's the first time these teams met. 2 goals and assists. He is tied with Jaden Lowry for the team lead in goals with 3. Aiden will play this game, and then he and his family will be off to Phoenix as a shot comes in from St. Peter's over the bar. First real look at the net for either team. But the Lambs will be heading out for Phoenix. So this is the only game Aiden Lamb will play for Kirkwood this weekend, hoping to repeat his performance the first time he skated against St. Peter's. But Kirkwood will then be missing one of its top 2 goal scorers and point leaders for the rest of the weekend. Puck goes behind St. Peter's goal. They send it back forward up the boards. Good pinch by Gavin on those far boards. Nice move out of the corner. Centering pass gets through the crease. That's Jaden Lowry chasing it to the near boards. Aiden tries to pinch. It does get by him. And now St. Peter's attacker looking to make something out of nothing here. All the defense is back for Kirkwood. Centering pass is denied. Now picked up by Gavin. Skating it out. Jumping in. Leading the rush. Puck goes all the way around to the far side. Carried out by St. Peter's. Again, St. Peter's coming forward, but Kirkwood having numbers behind the play. St. Peter's looking for the odd man rush, but really every time it's been Kirkwood with more red jerseys than blue ones on those rushes by the Spirit. Good job getting back on defense by the Stars as David takes the draw for Kirkwood. On the ice to Jacob, up ahead, but only blue shirts are there. Now St. Peter's comes forward. Again, all red jerseys, not much support for the puck for St. Peter's. Centering pass squirts all the way out to the high point. Now dumped in deep into the corner. Looking for a centering pass. It's turned over. Bodie with the nice steal behind the net. Now up ahead to Leo. No, sorry, that's William Dunbar with the puck. St. Peter's coming the other way, one-on-one with the defender. David coming in on a back check. Good job breaking up the play. Again, nothing too dangerous on these St. Peter's rushes, as I believe that's going to be a check by St. Peter's, running over the Kirkwood defender on the far boards. Elbowing, shoulder. Too much contact, whatever they want to call it. First power play of the game coming up for Kirkwood, as we'll go to the other end for a face-off in the offensive zone. So Kirkwood on the power play, 5-on-4. Liam Gale in the face-off circle for Kirkwood. He's got Leo on his right. Looks like that pairing of Aiden and Gavin on the D-line, and Bryson as the left winger. But here comes St. Peter's breaking out shorthanded. Turned over at neutral ice though, and Kirkwood comes back on the power play. Leo getting it in deep for Kirkwood. Behind the net to Liam. Picked off on the centering pass by St. Peter's. Spirit carried out across center ice, dumping it in deep now. No icing, he did get across that center line. Bryson picks it up as the short-handed Spirit go for a change, but they force a bobble, give their teammates more time on that change. And now Kirkwood goes for a change of their own, sending it deep. No icing, it didn't get all the way to the end boards, but it does give St. Peter's time to collect the puck and come back forward, short-handed. Centering pass is there, and a goal. Short-handed goal for St. Peter's. Opens the scoring here in Wentzville. You can see both teams trading changes in the middle of that Kirkwood power play. When Kirkwood was second team to change there, they sent the puck the length of the ice. St. Peter's gathered it and came up on a quick rush. It wasn't like an odd man rush necessarily, but it was enough to get a chance going. And a nice pass from behind the net, centering through the slot, and he buried it. 1-0 St. Peter's, as now Kirkwood gets it through the crease. Kirkwood has not played behind too much this season. They really just had that one stretch of the second period against Northwest Arkansas where they trailed by 1. Outside of that, they have played with the lead for most of this season. And by even in the individual games, jumping out to quick early leads and maintaining those leads throughout the game. So this is a bit of a different spot for Kirkwood to not get the first goal of the game, playing from behind, especially giving it up shorthanded. A little bit of a shock to the system here early from St. Peter's to Kirkwood. Because even in that Northwest Arkansas game, Kirkwood had the early lead, and it wasn't until the junior Ice Hogs scored 2 very quick goals at the start of the second period to really flip that one on Kirkwood. But that only lasted about maybe half of the second period before Kirkwood tied it up again. So this is an unfamiliar spot to be down in the first period against a team that it defeated 4-1 previously during declaration season. St. Peter's setting up shop, or trying to, but now errant pass gets across the blue line. So St. Peter's will have to reset, and here comes some pressure from Kirkwood. Stealing the puck, centering, shooting. Big save by St. Peter's. A golden opportunity from Kirkwood there, as that loose puck slid across the blue line, forced St. Peter's to retreat from the offensive zone. Kirkwood was quick to pressure them in the neutral zone and came the other way down the boards. Very nice centering pass. Great look at goal, but a great save by the Spirit goalie. Keeps St. Peter's ahead 1-0 for now. That was easily Kirkwood's best look at goal of the game so far. Puck is on the ice, and St. Peter's carries it quickly into the zone. All red shirts back on that one, as Leo sends it forward, misses his mark on the pass, so puck squirts loose all the way to the other end. Won't make it for icing, though. Now a nice forecheck by Liam to steal the puck back for Kirkwood. In the quarter, battling for it. St. Peter's passes it ahead. Nice pinch by Gavin. Here's Leo picking up the puck, trying to center it into the slot. It's blocked. Held in by Aiden, sends it forward. Bounced a little bit loose there in the low slot. But St. Peter's keeps it out now. A high wrister. I don't know that the goalie even saw that one, but it floats wide. Kirkwood getting some nice pressure. Nice zone time here. Bouncing puck into the crease. Had to make a save there by St. Peter's, but he dealt with it. And now St. Peter's comes the other way. Shooting blocked by Gavin. Stick lift by Liam. Up ahead to Leo. But they lose the puck. And they battle for it below us here. St. Peter's coming back in. Long wrister. That got Rory's stick. I heard it hit wood. Not sure if it was going in or if she just caught it on its way past the bars, but either way, that did hit Rory's stick on the long floating wrist shot from just inside the blue line. She keeps it out though, and St. Peter's stays at 1. We'll have the face-off here at center ice. St. Peter's wins the draw. Kirkwood takes it right back. Puck bounces into the zone. Now out to Jacob. It gets by him. Puck will get all the way to Rory, who does cover. Gotta watch her though. She isn't an automatic cover. She does like to play the puck very much like Jordan Bennington for the Blues. Does not just instinctively cover. Always looks to make a play if she can, but wisely chose to freeze it there. Stepping in, shooting off the pads. Nice save by Rory. Another pad save by Rory. So 2 long shots, bouncing off the legs. Rory there in position, keeping Kirkwood within 1 goal. They try to re-enter the zone. They do. That's Jackson Lowry, the other leader in goals for Kirkwood with Aiden. Both of them 3 goals on the season. As Leo skates in, shooting just wide of the post. Jaden centers it. It's a little loose in the slot. Here comes Jaden again from the far boards. Now battling it into the corner. St. Peter's skating out. Up ahead, misses its mark. Bodie has it, sends it back in, but just briefly as St. Peter's comes right back out. Now Bodie whacks it back into the neutral zone. That's Dunbar and David over there in the far boards. Now Jacob steps up for Kirkwood. Slides a shot just wide. Rebound coming back into the crease. It's loose and covered. David will take the draw for Kirkwood. He wins it over to Dunbar, back to Aiden. Oh, nice little play there. Aiden sends it forward into the slot. David whacks it on its way, but does shoot it wide. Now the puck sneaks out to neutral ice. Aiden's back there for Kirkwood, but whiffs on it a little bit. That could have been dangerous. Pressure was coming, but they do get it out to the neutral zone. St. Peter's coming back for more. Now in offsides. 17 seconds left to go here in the first period. St. Peter's leading 1-0 on a shorthanded goal during the only power play of this game. Kirkwood winning the draw, but St. Peter's stealing it right back. Dumping it deep into the corner. Now Kirkwood picks it up behind their own goal. Coming out to neutral ice, and that'll do it for the first period as St. Peter's takes a 1-0 lead into the first intermission. I believe this is the first time Kirkwood has trailed at the first intermission all season. They have gotten the first goal in every game they played up until today. So they will look to flip the script on St. Peter's just like Northwest Arkansas did to them. We are back, ready to start the second period. Ready to start the second period here at the Rolling Thunder tournament in Wentzville. St. Peter's leading 1-0 through the first, as Kirkwood will look to even the score. It goes just wide. That was quite a chance for Kirkwood. As now here comes some pressure coming forward. Kirkwood clearing the zone. It's Leo all alone behind the defense. Makes a move over to Liam. Shooting off the pads. Kirkwood with a great look there. Now St. Peter's coming the other way. Nice pad save by Rory. Oh, and Blake slips. He was free behind the defense just like Leo. Stretch pass coming. Blake falls down. If that pass connected, he was clearing away for a breakaway. Very similar to Leo. 2 stretch passes here early for Kirkwood in the second period. As puck gets to the crease, Rory was there. She covers. But Leo getting that first stretch pass was behind the defense. Tried to make a move and it slipped over to, as here comes Jackson Lowry trying to make a move. Lots of blue jerseys back on that one. So Kirkwood getting some rushes here in the second period. Battling for it here on the boards. Back to Gavin at the point. He just slides it forward to the end boards. Blake chases it to the far side. Back to Aiden, long shot. Off the stick, nice shot by Aiden. Another long-ranging shot from Gavin gets to the goalie. 2 big saves here. Into the slot, it's Leo. No, that's Jaden. Jaden with the backhand. Can't get it to go. Gavin with the pinch, holds it in, sends it forward. Nice shift here by Kirkwood as Blake steps up. Looking to set up the attack. Centering pass is deflected. Another long shot off the pads. They're getting it to the goal here in the second period. Can they get it in? Here comes St. Peter's coming the other way. Big shift by Kirkwood there. They go for a change. Here comes the reinforcements. David carrying it out for Kirkwood. Tries to find Sagan, but he wasn't looking for it. And it goes all the way to the end boards for icing. So a huge shift out of Kirkwood there. Big time pressure, good sustained possession. A handful of shots getting in all the way to the goalie. Most of them from out wide, long shots, but hard shots, forcing good saves. Peppering the goalie on that shift. And Kirkwood getting another push here as they go for the new line. Breaking out, it's Sam Hughes. He's got Dunbar coming forward. Now it squirts loose to Dunbar. Tries to chip the goalie. It goes over the goalie, but on the wrong side of the bar. Another good chance for Kirkwood. So here comes St. Peter's. Battle for it in the corner. Jacobs got it. Now David slaps it forward. St. Peter's holds it in. Deflection entering the slot. Out to David in the neutral zone. Not quite. Back to Jacob. His pass is blocked. St. Peter's centers it. Oh, Rory got her legs to it. Redirected it away as David tries to chip it forward. Oh, he got a stick to it, but it didn't come forward like he wanted. As we have some lively action here in the second period. St. Peter's regrouping on their side of the center line. Now coming forward. Into the high slot. Tries to make a pass down low. It's picked off by Kirkwood. A move around a defender. Shot coming in from the face-off circle. Rory's blocker got to it. Sent it in the air. And now Dunbar skates forward. Ships it. Gets his own rebound. Can't get it to go. Back out to Gavin. Deep pinch by the defenseman. Gets a stick to it. Now St. Peter's gets it out and they're behind everybody. Breakaway here for St. Peter's. Big save by Rory Murray. Shutting down the breakaway. Spirit attacker got behind everyone, clearing away one-on-one with Rory. Tries to make a move to the forehand, but Rory was there and keeps Kirkwood within 1 goal here, trailing 1-0 with 7.5 minutes left to play in the second period. A little bit loose there in the face-off circle. Cleared to safety. Now behind the goal. Sorry if we had interrupted service there. A shot, scores! Bryson with the backhand! Ties the game 1-1. Great shift by Kirkwood there as Bryson buries the backhand shot, evening the score 1-1 here in the Rolling Thunder tournament in Wentzville. Kirkwood and St. Peter's tied 1-1. Like I said, I'm sorry if we lost service there, had an incoming call that may have disrupted the stream. Looks like we are back live again though. Just in time to see that goal, I hope. Kirkwood looking for more. Nice move by Jacob. Up ahead to Jackson off the crossbar. Jacob now shooting it back in deep. Out. Now Jaden staying with it, getting a stick to it, making the turnover, over to Jackson, out to Bodie, back down to Jackson. Bodie looking for a shot. Can't quite get the trigger pulled on that one. And here comes St. Peter's the other way. Good job getting back by Jacob to disrupt that play. It looked like that got across the blue line, but they let it play on. No offsides. Oh, dangerous pass. All alone in the crease was St. Peter's. Couldn't bring in the pass, though. Had a big-time scoring chance if he gets a stick to that there. Battle for it in the corner. Jacob tries to clear it. It does bounce off the stick and over the blue line. So Kirkwood relieving some pressure. And St. Peter's coming right back for more. Looks like Blake will get to it. No, that's Jacob. Skates it up. Takes it himself. Gains the blue line. Shoots from the face-off circle. Toe save by St. Peter's. Blake with the stick. Turns the puck over, gets it back to Sam, centers it. David is there. Oh, tried to gather it just outside the crease. Nicely held in by Jacob here. Out to Dunbar. Takes a shot, goes wide. David's getting to it first. He's got his stick on it, sends it behind the goal. Down to Sam Hughes. Tries to reverse it. Centers it into the slot, but only blue shirts are there, and here comes St. Peter's. Kirkwood steals it behind their own goal, up the boards to Dunbar. Now back into the zone for St. Peter's. Centering, picked off by Gavin, nice stick. Dunbar gets it out. David tries to chip it forward. Puck comes back in. Offsides. So Kirkwood tying the game on the backhand goal by Bryson. 1-1 here. 3 minutes and 1 second left in the second period. First game of group play for Kirkwood and St. Peter's here at the Rolling Thunder tournament in Wentzville. St. Peter's trying to get to it in the face-off circle. Here comes Leo skating it out. St. Peter's coming back the other way with speed into the slot, through the defense, all the way to Rory. She's there. And we have a St. Peter's skater down on the ice. He came in with speed through the slot, makes a move and splits the defense, goes down on the way to the goal. Seeing the net off kilter like that makes me think of, I mean, I don't want to add humor to this because he does look like he's hurt, but it makes me think of the Mighty Ducks injury where Banks is tripped and his shoulder goes into the bar. It's kind of a similar spot here where the St. Peter's skater coming into speed towards goal. Did not see if he made contact with the post like Banks did in the movie, but he's at least skating on his own power here. Good to see that. That was quite the rush he made. Starting in the neutral zone, gaining the blue line, making a move and splitting the defense through the slot. Got it all the way to Rory, but she keeps it out and we stay 1-1. Liam Gale is going to go to the box for Kirkwood. This will be St. Peter's first power play of the game. They already scored shorthanded on Kirkwood's only power play of the game. Now they get a chance with the man advantage. It's Bryson with a good stick on the far boards. Now he carries it out. Beats another defender. Bryson coming forward short-handed, centers it, but nobody's home for Kirkwood. Stepping up is Leo, holding it in, shooting, it's blocked. Another stick by Leo. Good forecheck here by Bryson, but St. Peter's does finally get to it and gets it out. Off the side netting, and Gavin has it for Kirkwood. Looking for a pass. Switches sides. Puck is loose. As Kirkwood goes for a change. Bryson backhands it. Pretty close to too many men on the ice there for Kirkwood on the change. But 20 seconds left in the power play for St. Peter's. They're back in Kirkwood's end. Centering. Aiden just got a piece of it to redirect it, so it didn't find its mark. That could have been dangerous. As now Kirkwood's back to full strength with Liam Gale out of the box, and he gets a stick right to it. Fresh on the ice. And St. Peter's skates in off sides. So Kirkwood kills off the penalty. We stay 1-1 with 49 seconds left to go here in the second period. Puck is on the ice. St. Peter's wins the draw. Dumps it in deep into the corner. Jacob picks it up for Kirkwood. Sends it up to Blake, who tries to shoot it out, but held in by St. Peter's. Now it's out to the center ice. St. Peter's coming right back in. High slot shot, blocker save, Rory. Blake hustling, trying to win the race to that 50-50 puck. Now Jackson gets a stick to it. St. Peter's coming the other way. And that'll do it for the second period. Kirkwood evens the score 1-1 on the backhand by Bryson, tying things up. Kirkwood failing to score the first goal of the game for the first time this season. St. Peter's carrying a 1-0 lead into the first intermission. Kirkwood showing a lot more life there in the second. Bigger energy, bigger push. Early on, they had a couple shifts in the offensive zone where they were just peppering the goalie with shots. Much stronger forecheck, much more possession and pressure in the offensive zone. It didn't initially pay off, but eventually they got the chance they needed with Bryson backhanding it into the goal just on top of the crease, tying this game 1-1. We have one period left to settle this first contest of the Rolling Thunder tournament here in Wentzville. As I was saying in the pregame, that 4-1 scoreline between these two teams the first time they met was a little deceiving because that game was very close most of the way until just 2 goals late for Kirkwood made it a little bit more lopsided than it really was. St. Peter's showing they can play with this Kirkwood team and have led most of this game, in fact, until Bryson tied it up. Gavin winning it behind the goal, sending it up the boards. Shot comes into the slot, denied on the back door. St. Peter's dangerous look and centering it. Now Dunbar falls down and can't clear it. Couple of nervy moments there for Kirkwood. St. Peter's had a man open on the back door. And then another centering pass came. Couldn't quite get the shot they needed to retake the lead. And now Gavin breaks out. 2-on-2. Makes a move. And the shot is soft as St. Peter's got a stick onto Kirkwood's while that shot was being taken. And now St. Peter's comes the other way. Good angle by Aiden Lamb to cut off the attack. David battling forward on the boards now. Here comes Dunbar joining the scrum. David skating it out. David with some room. Passes. Oh, he had Sam on the back door. The shot was open. Just couldn't find the handle on it. Great pass by David. Could have been his 4th assist of the season there. Bryson picks it up. Tries to make a move, but St. Peter's takes it away. Now Jacob sends it down. Bodie doing everything he can to hold it in. Puck bounces off the top of the goal. David has it. Gets it back to Bodie at the point. Sends a long shot deflection right to the goalie. I think that was St. Peter's deflecting it. The defense with the high stick directing the high floating shot from Bodie at the point down to their goalie right in front of the crease. That would have been a fortunate bounce for Kirkwood, but it does stay out. We stay tied. Here comes St. Peter's with the push. Coming forward, centering, nobody's home. Now at the top of the slot, St. Peter's picks it up. Shot goes wide, intercepted by Leo. He skates it out. Battle for it here on the near boards below us. Puck squirts loose to the goalie. Tries to play it. Bodie getting a stick to it. dumping it in deep. But St. Peter's is there, looking for an exit, sending it forward, but past the intended recipient. Gets back to Kirkwood, who sends it the length of the ice for icing. So we stay tied 1-1. Just under 10 minutes to go here in the third period. St. Peter's gets it into Kirkwood's territory. Loose in the face-off circle. Now Blake gets a stick to it. Held in by St. Peter's. Battle on the boards. Skating into the face-off circle. Gavin's there in the slot for Kirkwood. Sends it out. Now a chance for Kirkwood to make a rush, but it's broken up, and St. Peter's comes the other way. Skating with speed, trying to gain the corner, gets behind the goal. Picked off by Aiden Lamb. He's got some speed. Tries to turn on the Jets, can't get through the defense, follows the puck all the way to the end boards. Jackson has it in the corner. It squirts out to Gavin at the point, slaps it into the crease, and it's deflected just ahead of the blue paint, over the bar, over the boards, into the back netting. Good chance from Kirkwood there. Nice slap shot from just inside the blue line by Gavin. Gets all the way to the crease where it's deflected, popped up over everything. David will take the draw here for Kirkwood. He's got Dunbar on his right, Sam on his left there with the puck, sends it off the side of the goal. St. Peter's on it, reverses, into the low slot for Kirkwood, it's loose, rebound chance, behind the goal. Again, getting a stick to it, now Bodie slaps it down low. Great pressure by Kirkwood. David's got it behind the goal. Finds a pass. That's Sam. He got the stick to it this time, but then it was taken away. Nice move by Jacob. Enters the zone. Shooting from the high slot. Stretched out. Pad save. St. Peter's goalie coming up big there. That was a good look at goal by Jacob. Forced a really nice save by St. Peter's, who's now behind everyone. And they score! St. Peter's back in front, 2-1. And just when it looked like Kirkwood would grab its first lead of the game, St. Peter's comes the other way, gets behind the defense, beats Rory one-on-one, grabs a 2-1 lead of their own. With 7:40 left to play in this game. Jacob on the other end with a really nice move out of the neutral zone, beating a defender, gaining the blue line, skating it in, ripped a shot that forced a stretched out pad save by the St. Peter's goalie. Very nice save to keep the game tied. St. Peter's comes down the other way, gets behind the defense, beats Rory one-on-one, and St. Peter's is back in front 2-1. St. Peter's leading most of the game after their first period goal. Kirkwood tying it on a backhand by Bryson in the second. Now St. Peter's scoring here in the third as Leo steals it, tries to center it, but can't get it through. Good chance for Kirkwood there with a nice stick by Leo to force the turnover. Had a man with him on the other side, but just couldn't get it to him. We've seen a lot more urgency out of Kirkwood since that first period. It looked a little bit like they were going through the motions in the first frame, but some encouragement from their coach in that first intermission has shot some energy into them, much more urgent with their sticks and forcing those turnovers and winning the 50-50 pucks. But they are back behind here with 6:42 left to go. Jackson passes it ahead to Blake, tries to make a move, but it's stolen. Puck squirts loose to Jaden. Now Jacob ahead to Jackson. Jaden gets a stick to it. Blake's gonna shoot it, dumping it deep into the corner. St. Peter sends it around the boards. Out to Jacob at center ice. He dumps it back in. St. Peter's in the corner, just sends it all the way down. That'll be icing. So we'll go back to St. Peter's side for an offensive zone faceoff. Kirkwood trailing 2-1, 5:52 left in the game. David will take the draw for Kirkwood. He's got Sam Hughes on his left. Looks like Dunbar on his right. Aiden and Gavin on the D-line. St. Peter's pushes it forward. Gavin's back for Kirkwood. Sam gets it in the zone, but St. Peter's has it right away. Nice step by Gavin. He sends it in deep. St. Peter's evades the forecheck. Comes out to center ice. Nice back check by David, stealing the puck. But St. Peter's has it back. And we're gonna have a delayed penalty against Kirkwood here. That'll be a whistle. So St. Peter's will get a power play with 5:07. Looked like a trip against Kirkwood as this is Gavin going to the penalty box for the Stars. So St. Peter's getting their second power play of the game. Their first goal came shorthanded on Kirkwood's only power play of the game. That was the first goal this afternoon. St. Peter's with the man advantage. 4 minutes and a half. 5 minutes left to go in the game. Bodie steps up, can't get it out. Shot comes in, deflected in the low slot. Goes wide. Jacob has it behind his net. Reverses. Looks for a pass. It's blocked by St. Peter's. Blocked back by Jacob. Battling for it in the corner. 2-on-2 here. Centering pass is denied, but loose. Just through the crease. Jacob back on the puck for Kirkwood. Fighting to get it out. They just can't. St. Peter's holds the line, shooting and scoring. A power play goal by St. Peter's puts the Spirit up 3-1. Kirkwood was fighting hard to get it out of the zone. Got it to the blue line, but not over it. St. Peter's holds the line, comes back in, centering pass just in front of the crease. The perfect scoring spot. They bury the chance and take a commanding 3-1 lead here on the power play goal. 4:20 left to go in the game. Kirkwood down by 2 for the first time this season. Gavin's got it. Ahead to Aiden. He pushes it to the end boards. Jackson's first to it. Over to Jaden. Centering pass. Can't get it to Aiden. Gavin steps up. Now out. And behind the defense is St. Peter's on a breakaway. Shot. Scores. St. Peter's breaking the game open here. Late in the third period, another breakaway chance for STP. One-on-one with Rory, and beat her cleanly to the glove side. 4-1 St. Peter's. Kirkwood had the 4-1 win over this same St. Peter's team the first time they met. Spirit looking to return the favor, but we still have 3.5 minutes left to play. This thing's not over yet. St. Peter's coming forward. St. Peter's has had a few more of those breakaway chances than Kirkwood is used to giving up. Been way too many of those today, getting behind the defense as this one slides the length of the ice for icing. You can see the scoreboard there, 4-1 St. Peter's, 3:09 left to go in the third period. Liam will take the draw for Kirkwood. St. Peter's wins it cleanly, but can't get the handle on it, and it does come across the blue line, out to the neutral ice, and back in for offsides. .303 left in the game. St. Peter's ahead 4-1. They win the draw. Hard collision at center ice. And that's going to be against Kirkwood. Big time collision there at the center line. Goes against Kirkwood. So St. Peter's with the shorthanded goal and a power play goal this game goes back on the man advantage with 2:56 left to go in the game and a 4-1 lead in hand. Liam wins the draw for Kirkwood to Gavin, who steps up shorthanded, skates it across the center ice and into the offensive zone, dumps it in deep for Kirkwood. Liam gets there on the forecheck. And now St. Peter's coming the other way with the man advantage. Gets around the defense. Shot goes over the bar. Turns the corner on the defender. Had a clear look at the goal. Shot it over the iron. Now just stick handling on the side of the crease. Need a little bit more urgency out of the penalty kill for Kirkwood. 2:12 left to go. 40 seconds left on the power play. As Leo battles for it along the far boards. Liam comes in to help. St. Peter's skating forward 2-on-2. And defense again just kind of giving up there. It was 2-on-2, not an odd man rush, but defense just kind of stood there and watched him skate off to the side and rip a shot. Now 2-on-1 for St. Peter's, shooting, scoring, and the route is on. 5-1 St. Peter's. I hate to say that it does look like Kirkwood has kind of quit after that fourth goal. Just not a lot of urgency, not a lot of energy once they went down by 3. Not much resistance against St. Peter's as they've come into the offensive zone. Kirkwood kind of skating through the motions here as Aiden comes forward. He's not giving up. He skates with some energy. Makes a nice push. Good shot, but a good save. The St. Peter's goalie has been solid here today. Several nice chances, especially back when this game was close and the result was in doubt. St. Peter's goalie has really come through. So the other thing to think about here as Kirkwood skates this thing out is in a tournament setting, there's 6 teams in this bracket, only 2 championship spots. The goal differential will be a factor most likely in the standings. So that's why you can't quit at the end of these games. Giving up an extra goal or 2 could be the difference between being in the time slot you want and the time slot you don't on Sunday. The 5-1 scoreline is going to be a tough one to overcome for Kirkwood. You know, if you lose by 1, you still feel like I have a shot, but losing by 4 is a different story. It does matter in the standings. Less than half a minute to play here. St. Peter's in full control, 5-1, as there is a whistle here. They're kind of in the corner where I can't see, but seems like some tempers are flaring as this game has gotten out of hand. So looks like the face-off is staying on St. Peter's side of the ice, so the penalty must be against the Spirit. Didn't see the play or the call. Yes, it is against St. Peter's. So Kirkwood will get a power play chance here for the last 20 seconds. St. Peter's scoring on Kirkwood's first power play of the game for the opening goal of the afternoon, shorthanded, then later getting a power play goal of their own. As David tried to center it to Dunbar, couldn't get one back there. And St. Peter's wins this one cleanly, 5-1. It was close and hotly contested most of the way, but a couple goals late for St. Peter's broke it open, and Kirkwood really taking their foot off the gas once they fell behind multiple goals. And this thing got away from them quickly after that. So the Stars with a lot of work to do this weekend, tomorrow on Saturday, if they have any hopes of finding their way to that championship game on Sunday. We will be here very early tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. puck drop against Merrimack's A3 squad before a 3:40 puck drop in the afternoon against Northwest Arkansas. But we're done here for today as we say goodbye from Wentzville.